It was supposed to be a regular Tuesday morning. 15-year-old Alina Brooks stood at the entrance of Brightstone Learning Center, an elite tutoring institute nestled in the heart of downtown Chicago. Clutching a sealed envelope with both hands, her fingers trembled, not from the chill of spring, but from the weight of responsibility. She had been sent by her mother to deliver the first tuition installment, a $4,800 certified money order. Alina wore her school uniform, navy cardigan, pleated khaki skirt, and simple sneakers. Her afro was neatly braided back, her posture straight. This was her first solo errand. No parents hovering, no hand-holding. It felt like the first step toward adulthood. As she entered the sleek glass doors, the scent of expensive coffee and lemon-scented floor polish hit her. The lobby was pristine. White marble floors, minimalist furniture, abstract art on the walls. A receptionist with a tight bun and an even tighter smile glanced up from her desk. Her nameplate read, Carmen L. "Can I help you?" Carmen asked, her tone clipped and vaguely irritated. Alina offered a polite smile. "Hi, I'm here to drop off a tuition payment for my summer courses. It's for Alina Brooks, under the Accelerated Science program." Carmen's eyes narrowed just slightly as they scanned Alina from head to toe. "Accelerated program?" she repeated, then gave a forced laugh. "I see." Alina didn't understand what was so funny. She extended the envelope. Carmen took it hesitantly, as if expecting it to explode. She flipped it over, opened it halfway, and paused. "This is a lot of money," she said, now eyeing Alina like a suspect. "Where'd you get it?" Alina's face flushed. "It's a money order. My mom had it issued this morning from the credit union. She's a teacher, a doctor." Evelyn Brooks. Carmen's eyebrows arched slightly at the doctor, but the suspicion didn't fade. "Do you have ID?" Alina fumbled through her backpack and produced her school ID. Carmen barely looked at it. "I'll have to get Mr. Lawrence, the director," Carmen muttered, already turning away. "Stay right here." Alina stood by the front desk, trying not to let the sinking feeling in her stomach overwhelm her. People walked in and out, most not even glancing her way. A group of students in blazers and loafers walked past her, chatting about debate team scores. One girl gave Alina a side glance, curious, dismissive. A few minutes later, Carmen returned, with Mr. Lawrence, a tall man in his 50s, wearing an expensive gray suit and a Bluetooth earpiece. His expression was tight, his tone efficient. "We've had some incidents with falsified documents recently," he said without introduction. "So I'll need to verify the source of this payment. Where exactly was this money order issued?" Alina blinked, caught off guard. I'm not sure. My mom handled it, but I can text her?" Mr. Lawrence shook his head. "No phones in the lobby, please. You'll need to wait here until we've clarified the transaction. We can't just accept large sums from unverified sources." Alina's phone was in her pocket, but her hands stayed still. She remembered what her mother always said. "Don't argue. Stay calm. Observe everything." But the way Mr. Lawrence said unverified made something twist in her gut. It wasn't just about the money, it was about her. She was still standing there 15 minutes later when two security staff walked in, nodding toward Mr. Lawrence. He pointed at her subtly. "Escort her to the side lounge until we're done. We don't want distractions at the front." Distractions. That word echoed like a slap. Alina didn't resist as the two security officers flanked her. One of them, a younger man named Jared, looked unsure, almost apologetic. The other, an older woman with a steely gaze, walked silently ahead of her. Neither of them explained anything. They led her into a small, sterile lounge just off the lobby. It was quiet, cold, and brightly lit. There were no windows, just a couple of stiff chairs, a water cooler, and a muted flat-screen TV playing some boring finance segment. The walls were lined with framed certificates, Brightstone's achievements. Alina sat, her backpack on her lap, the money order now out of her hands, her voice silenced by forced politeness. She kept glancing at the clock on the wall. 15 minutes passed, then 20. Her mother would be wondering why she hadn't texted yet. She reached into her pocket. Before she could even unlock the screen, Jared stepped forward. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "They said no phones. You can make a call once they're done." Alina froze. This wasn't about a policy anymore. This felt like detainment. "Did I do something wrong?" she asked, her voice low but firm. Jared hesitated. I don't know. I'm just following orders." "Yeah," she whispered. "So is everyone." The older guard didn't even glance her way. Minutes blurred into what felt like hours. Occasionally, staff passed by the room and looked in, some out of curiosity, others with indifference. No one offered her an update. No one told her what was taking so long. Eventually, a girl walked by, tall, pale, red-haired, clearly a Brightstone regular. She peered through the glass, then leaned in to whisper to another student beside her. Alina didn't need to hear what was said. She saw the smirk, the sideways glance, the subtle laugh. It wasn't just embarrassment she felt anymore. It was erasure. Like she didn't belong. Like they had already decided who she was before she even spoke. "They don't see you," she thought. "They see a problem." Alina closed her eyes, grounding herself. She remembered how hard her mother had worked just to get her into this program. Not with money, but with late nights, weekend prep courses, and constant encouragement. She remembered Dr. Brooks saying, "Some people will never admit you earned your place." But that doesn't make you. Dr. Evelyn Brooks didn't need an explanation. The moment she stepped through the glass doors of Brightstone, she saw her daughter sitting alone, eyes fierce but guarded, hands folded tightly over her backpack. One glance was all it took to read the situation. She walked to the reception desk with calm precision, every step echoing confidence. "Good morning," she said to Carmen, who froze mid-keystroke. "My name is Dr. Brooks. My daughter Alina was asked to wait after submitting her tuition payment. I'd like to know why." Carmen's tone instantly shifted. "Yes, of course. One moment, please. I'll get Mr. Lawrence." Evelyn turned toward Alina, crouched in front of her, gently placing a hand on her knee. "You okay?" she asked. Alina nodded. "I didn't do anything wrong, Mom, I promise." "I know," Evelyn said softly, but her eyes were already scanning the room like a strategist assessing a battlefield. Mr. Lawrence appeared shortly after, expression carefully neutral. "Dr. Brooks," he greeted, offering a quick handshake. "Thanks for coming in. We just had some concerns about the payment." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "A certified money order from a registered credit union, accompanied by an ID and enrollment letter?" Lawrence hesitated. "It's just protocol. Large payments sometimes raise flags." Evelyn didn't flinch. "And is this protocol applied to every student who walks through those doors, or just the ones who look like mine?" A pause. "I assure you, there was no discrimination." "You don't need to assure me of anything," Evelyn interrupted, her voice cool but edged. "You need to explain why my daughter was isolated, denied access to her phone, and treated like a suspect while holding legitimate documentation." The room had gone still. Even Carmen had stopped pretending to type. Lawrence's composure began to crack. Perhaps we were overly cautious. No, Evelyn said, standing taller. You were inappropriate, unprofessional, and, based on my daughter's notes, possibly in violation of both consumer rights and anti-discrimination policies. Alina opened her backpack and silently handed over her notebook. Evelyn flipped through it quickly, reading lines Alina had scribbled while sitting in that side room. Escorted away. Questioned source of funds. Other students not treated the same. Mr. Lawrence shifted uncomfortably. There's no need to escalate. But there is, Evelyn snapped. Because my daughter deserved. Evelyn didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her tone was precise, her presence commanding. From this point forward, she said, I'll be filing a formal complaint with the Illinois Department of Human Rights and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You may also expect a letter from my legal counsel regarding your discriminatory conduct. Lawrence stammered. Dr. Brooks, please. Surely we can handle this internally. No, Evelyn replied sharply. If you wanted to handle it internally, you could have started by treating my daughter like a human being. Alina felt her spine straighten as she listened. Her mother wasn't just standing up for her. She was making a statement, loud enough for the others in the lobby to hear. People had started paying attention. A woman by the coffee bar suddenly put down her cup and leaned in to listen. Two teenage students, clearly from different racial backgrounds, exchanged a glance. Carmen tried to shrink behind her monitor. Mr. Lawrence looked rattled. Dr. Brooks, I'll personally ensure this doesn't happen again. We'll review protocol. Evelyn cut him off. You will do more than that. You'll issue a written apology to my daughter. You'll refund the registration fee for this term. And you'll schedule an in-person meeting with your board of directors to discuss diversity training and equity policy enforcement. She folded Alina's notebook shut and tucked it under her arm. If these things don't happen, she continued, I'll ensure this story reaches every parent group and local news outlet in the city. The room was silent. Lawrence nodded meekly. Understood. Alina felt her throat tighten. Not with fear or anger, but something new. Power. She had been silenced and pushed aside, but she hadn't disappeared. She had been seen, heard, defended. Evelyn turned to her daughter and gently held out her hand. Come on, she said. We're done here. But just before they left, Alina paused. She turned to look at Carmen, who now avoided her gaze completely. Next time, Alina said quietly, don't assume the worst just because someone doesn't look like they belong in your lobby. Then she walked out, her mother beside her. As the doors closed behind them, Alina exhaled, like she had been holding her breath since she walked into the building. That evening, at home, Alina sat on her bed, notebook open, her laptop beside her, screen glowing with a blank document. By the end of the week, Alina's story had spread far beyond the marble floors of Brightstone. It started with a simple blog post she published on her school's online journal, What Happens When They Don't See You. She wrote it raw. Honest. She didn't name names, but every detail struck a nerve. How she was questioned, isolated, treated like a threat for simply existing. The post exploded. Hundreds of students shared it on social media. Parents reposted it. Then came the calls from local news stations, advocacy groups, education forums. Her words weren't just about her experience. They tapped into something bigger, something people had felt but never voiced. Brightstone was forced to respond. In a public statement, they apologized for the incident and announced immediate changes to their enrollment and verification protocols. They acknowledged the systemic issues the story highlighted and, for the first time, used the word that no one had dared say aloud: bias. Evelyn watched the headlines roll in with quiet pride. She had fought many battles in her career, but this one, fought by her daughter, was different. It wasn't one with degrees or courtroom arguments. It was one with courage. At school, Alina found herself approached by people she didn't even know, classmates, teachers, even janitors. "I read what you wrote," one senior girl told her. "It made me feel seen." Another added, "You said what I've been too scared to say." Alina smiled, grateful, but a little overwhelmed. She hadn't meant to become a symbol. She had just wanted to stand up for herself. Still, the moment had become a movement. Weeks later, Alina was invited to speak at a city youth forum on educational access and equity. Standing at the podium, looking out over an audience of strangers and supporters alike, she took a deep breath. "I didn't grow up thinking I'd have to prove I belonged in every room I entered," she began. "But I learned early that some people don't need a reason to doubt you. They just do." She paused, scanning the crowd. "But I also learned something else. When you speak the truth, even if your voice shakes, people listen. And when enough people listen, things can change." Thunderous applause followed. Alina didn't smile immediately. She let the silence settle to first. Let the weight of her words live a little longer in the air. Later that night, she sat in her room again, notebook in hand. But this time, there were no tears, no anger, only reflection. She had entered Brightstone as a student with a check. She had left as a voice with a purpose, and from now on, she wouldn't let anyone silence it again,